2025. This is HOA Today. HOA Today is brought to you by Zayuk. Zayuk is a company that provides a smart property system specified and built for HOAs and condos. If you're another type of real estate owner, you can reach out to us as well. But if you live in an HOA, if you're an HOA manager, if you live in a condo, we have a system that encapsulates meetings, asset hygiene, normal prop tech features, as well as living reserve study through a visualization context that allows your homeowners and your residents to better understand your property. So we will begin with current events, going through some current events in the HOA space. We'll start here, Hollywood Beach, Florida. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are trying to reshape 18 acres of Hollywood Beach. Permanent symbolic fencing to protect nesting birds. But many residents of the community near Oxnard knew nothing about it until long after it was voted by California Coastal Commission. I didn't realize we actually had a Hollywood Beach in California. Posted signs saying stop fencing Hollywood Beach, heavy construction equipment with fences, construction workers. SaveHollywoodBeach.com has been created. So here's a quote. USACE, that's the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, officials contend the fences and the posters in an opposition website, ... are taller than what the plan actually calls for, and accuse neighbors of spreading misinformation. Heated criticism at a virtual meeting on July 24th. As you know, visual impacts and potential loss of property values. Some people are threatening to file lawsuits. This is a quote from a resident. Quote, our experts tell us already that we have suffered a loss. Will you be offering the homeowners and the homeowner association any sum of money for the seizure of our property and your preparations for this damaging project, unquote. And then here is a USACE official statement, quote, the virtual public outreach meeting was very productive and we were pleased that we could extend the meeting time to hear community members' comments and concerns. The team is currently reviewing comments from the community to determine next steps. The project is scheduled for fiscal year 2026, unquote. So a lot of times in HOAs, these types of issues will come with the local government or the state government, usually local government, but here you see it, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, that's a federal entity. And to see this type of contention between an HOA and a federal entity is it's unique compared to when you see it with a local, state possibly, but this is the Army. So USACE is congressionally mandated to maintain facilities with dredging and replenished beaches south where the downcoast flow of sand was disrupted. 8.25 million cubic yards of sandy material over 6 years. Suitable material on nearby beaches. Partial dredging over past couple of decades resulted in sand accumulation and creation of dune habitat. And the birds are nesting there, so it meets the definition of environmentally sensitive habitat area under the Coastal Act. And these environments can easily be disturbed. So that's why the fence is going up. And I've seen these fences here. I don't know who put them up, but for similar situations in the Bay in San Diego, I don't know if that was approved by the CCC. This plan was reviewed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and various other national services or state organizations. So this has been acknowledged by multiple entities, and it's very difficult for residents to overcome something like that, whether it's a local ordinance. If it's a local ordinance, it can be difficult to overcome, but a federal ordinance is interesting. You'd have to see how that pans out. So we will continue. This is from ABC 45. Local homeowners demand transparency from Williamsburg West HOA amid property concerns. Residents at Williamsburg West are frustrated with ongoing problems. Several issues. One resident in West Williams Westburg, yard work, gutters are clogged, fence is rotting and falling apart. Her biggest worry is that she's paying an HOA fee and her problems aren't being resolved. Another resident has similar issues. Absence of parking lines and spaces. And then one homeowner decided to call ABC 45 News. And they don't have any information where their money is going. And this is a response, it seems, from the HOA management company. Quote, the board is aware of the concerns and takes them all very seriously. They have invited homeowners in the community to an information session to discuss these concerns and possible courses of action. Each homeowner has a vote at the annual meeting to help determine the association finances and budget for the following year. Unquote. And this comes to communication at the end of the day. A lot of issues people have. And so, we'll bring back our sponsor, Zayuk. Zayuk allows you to streamline your communications in multiple ways. We create digital threads between legal, governance, rules, voting, between invoices and contracts and work orders, and we provide that in a context which is easy and transmutable for your property and for your owners and for your future owners to understand, as well as your future vendors and your future managers. It's important that properties hold their information. It's very difficult. That's why we made Zayuk, because we make it easier. We give you a public facing website where you can have your actual rules as they are displayed to the public. We're going to add various other features to that as well, such as meeting minutes in the future. But we give you a place to distribute and interpret your information around your property. So you don't have to go searching for it. So you can just pull out your phone, go through, check it out, invite your vendors so that they can begin to verify their work on your property. Your vendors will also appreciate when you bring them in so they can have a historical context of the work they've done that's been done on certain pieces of equipment, such as water heaters, such as roofing, such as plumbing, electrical work. There's a lot of complexities when it comes to maintenance and construction projects on real estate. It's a difficult and I'm not sure the word. Not many people have the knowledge. And so when you purchase real estate, you don't expect a lot of this construction maintenance, these types of issues to happen, especially in an HOA where you are paying a sort of tax. It's an HOA assessment. It's not tax, but in a sense, it's a sort of you're paying for upkeep on utilities, and you might not get all the amenities you want, but you're paying to maintain the building, the roofing, the basic necessities under a set of guidelines and rules that you signed up for when you purchased your property. And to get back to Zayuk and what we're talking about with Williamsburg West, who had residents contacting ABC 45 News, we give you a platform to own your information, bring people into your sphere of work and property, and distribute that information so you don't have to work as hard to understand the context of what's going on in your home. We'll continue with another current event. Here we go. We've spoken about a couple of mostly Florida closures, condo association closures. And actually, I heard a very interesting art, I think, from NBC on a co-op. We'll go through that in a moment. But going back to the closures here from realtor.com, waterfront Miami condo redevelopment stalls. Biscayne Bay waterfront. Biscayne Bay, I believe, is where, don't quote me on this, but the quote unquote billionaire, I might be wrong on that. Yes, it is. Biscayne Bay. Sorry, I'm just looking at, I've never actually been to Miami, but I know kind of ish some of its real estate. Oh no, this is not Biscayne Bay. Not at all. Not at all. I don't know, man. Miami. Well, maybe it is. It is Biscayne Bay. Actually, that part is Biscayne Bay. So it's pretty much the main part of Miami. And I know the Billionaire's Bunker because we're doing a special soon, coming out soon on the Billionaire's Bunker, which is in Biscayne Bay in Miami. So here, waterfront Miami condo redevelopment stalls. This building again on Biscayne Bay waterfront, Biscayne 21 condos, legal tug of war. Sided with condos 8 holdouts. Wow, who been blocking the condos demolition by Two Roads Development. Two Roads has asked the Supreme Court to hear the case, the state Supreme Court. Very interesting. Attorney Glenn H. Wald said no guarantee. This is a 192 unit apartment, and there's, I believe, I read eight holdouts. So interesting. stands empty and uninhabitable, with multiple units having been stripped of windows and other features in preparation for demolition that never came. So waterfront property, I'm actually going to just, let's see, can I, it's, one moment. Built in 1964. It looks like it's right on the edge. I can imagine why this property deteriorated so quickly just based on its location. I would imagine because it looks like it would take on a lot of wind. A lot. Like, let me, let's, and wind is very difficult. When you get wind and water together, it becomes a very insidious combination. Very easy to deteriorate. Oh, it's not too far on the wind, but there's a huge, I guess we'll look at it right now. So let's go here. Oh, excuse me. And as you can see there, let me try and switch. Great. No, it's better the other way. So here it is, and I would imagine there's just a bunch of wind coming right at it. I mean, that could be true of many places, but it's right on the water to the east and the south. So supposedly this building stands completely empty. Okay, I'll stop sharing now. But they were successful. The 8 holdouts features a tennis court, large pool, barbecue area, ample parking, and perhaps most importantly, more than 830 feet of water frontage offering unobstructed views. Two Roads development went into a multi-million-dollar year shopping spree in 2022, buying up nearly all the units with intent of terminating or dissolving. Despite facing pressure from the developer and real estate agents, 8 owners dug into their heels. You have the right to live there, one homeowner says. Here's a quote. The problem is that the amount of money that Two Roads was offering was far below what it would require for those people to relocate to another condominium on the water with a beautiful view like they had at Biscayne 21. Oh, wow. And it required 100% ownership termination. That is like nearly impossible. That is so nearly impossible. Two Roads took over the board, changed the language of the declaration, lowering the threshold to 80%. Wow, that's crazy. And so this complaint accused Two Roads of rendering holdout votes meaningless. And so the third courts of appeal issued a ruling in favor of Biscayne 21 holdouts. on July 10. One vote means one vote counts. Wow. Very sensitive topic. Here's another article from the Miami Herald. Condos are in a crisis in South Florida. Laws passed after Surfside collapse forced condo owners to save for costly repairs, which led to a financial burden leads to foreclosures. And again, there was a horrible accident. There was a reaction to that accident. The reaction was too excessive. The ideas and the purposes were important and right, but the reaction was the the turnaround for decades, because many buildings had decades of neglect and that needed to be addressed. Unfortunately, the rule was just too quick. Just the turnaround when you have decades of decay, you can't put that on two homeowners over 2 or 3 years, and that's what the state of Florida did, and the state amended it. But for that time, it was a very big deal for homeowners and condo owners in Florida, especially considering all the hurricanes the state has gone through and that part of the country has gone through over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Before too, but it seems over the last 4 or 5 years, it's been large amount consistently across Florida, Carolinas as well. Many foreclosures in the area. Miami developers plan luxury condos. This is the Miami Herald asking, are fees for condo and homeowner associations worth it? One of the most the issue with condos is that a lot of people can put off the maintenance on those buildings and that property for years, and it becomes difficult for people in the end. And we're getting to a position where the smart community, the smart property system is coming. Zayuk is preparing our infrastructure for this. We give you a tool to store the historical context of your data and one to digest and work through. We are one of few companies that actually come to your property and inspect your property. You can have other people inspect your property, but what we do is we create a reality capture, a survey grade level reality capture. Other inspectors do that. So if they're able to do that in a format where they can create high quality captures, you can use them, or you can use us and use our integrated system and have us come out there. We do a reserves analysis, we do the reality capture inspection, we integrate that data within our application, and we provide you a framework to understand and work with your property and give the tools away, the information that needs to be distributed to various property owners and to various vendors as well, such as your actual vendors. Say you have HVAC, roofing, electrical, plumbing, landscaping. If you have an elevator, so many things. Piping, you need your piping fixed. Gasoline, I'm sorry, that's not true. Pest, asphalt, pavement, painting. If your stucco is damaged, you need to have painting done. Legal, because legal issues come with the territory, and specific types of legal too. You can have construction, HOA specific, construction defect, and that one is really important in this day and age. If you don't understand construction defect law, I should get a someone on the podcast about it. It's, let's I don't want to, I'm not a lawyer and none of this is legal advice, but let's just go through construction defect law and we'll just Google what it is. Construction defect law governs legal claims arising from faulty or substandard construction work. In California, this is from Gemini, Google Gemini. In California, these claims are subject to specific statute of limitations, meaning there's a limited time to file suit after a defect is discovered. Multiple types of defects. The Right to Repair Act here in California, SB 800, outlines specific standards for residential construction. Duty to notify. Homeowners are required to notify. And mediation. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. None of this is legal advice. But the reason I bring this up is because it's important to consider it and understand it. Defects, that maybe this building was built with defects and there is a process to determine that and handle that. And that is what is important to understand, that at times properties are presented real estate that has defects in it, and there's a process to determine if that might be the case within a certain piece of property you own or have been purchased into, and determine if that's the case, how to, there's attorneys and a whole legal basis around this. And some properties don't understand that or don't know that. So we'll continue. This is from Insurance Business Mag, condo complexity. Many carriers simply don't want the exposure. Residential condo association market is unique and has been unique for a long time. Multifamily structures rely on legal entities. It's a non-starter for most underwriters. Carriers have backed away from poor experiences and adverse selection. It's very hard and very complicated. Here's an interesting, the numbers alone can be daunting. Quote, you take one building at a TIV of 5 million and then multiply it by 30 billions for a TIV of 150 million, and all of a sudden you have a really big number. Yet this individual has focused on the space, deep underwriting expertise, and operational alignment. It enables the team to navigate the subtle but crucial dynamics between board members and property managers. Maintenance history matters more than age. This is from an insurance writer. And understanding and making sure that you have that traceability of work done, that a verification process for your work. It's very important to have a verification process saying the vendor did this and I have proof of it. We paid for it. I have proof of it. I can see how it was in that moment in time, and you can just proceed forward. Whereas if you don't maintain that, things can degrade quickly, maybe 2-3 years, but things can degrade quickly. So having that traceability is vital, and giving people the framework to understand your property so that it can be done by multiple vendors and you're not locked into anyone, because people come and go, and usually when they come and go, the knowledge they hold does as well. And so giving people frameworks and tools to log their data with you, with your property, is critical. Educating condo boards on how deferred maintenance drives up premiums. Imagery tool to also allow for loss of prevention at scale. So there are a lot of ways to determine whether or not a condo is in the, is hygienic. If it's financially hygienic, asset hygiene is appropriate, and it's functioning appropriately. Regulation can level the playing field. And it seems there might need to be more regulation, because a lot of these businesses are chronically underfunded, and it becomes a huge issue for future down the line owners. Okay, we're going to end this now. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. HOA Today, coverage of community that matters. It's not easy. It's not simple. Zayuk helps out a lot. We provide the context for you and your fellow homeowners and your vendors. Thank you, everyone. Take